Hey everybody, Riot More here, and we're here for part 2 of the Neon Knights PBE rundown, talking about system and augments. For this video, you just get me. Kent is dealing with some stuff as well, but as always, this isn't my work, necessarily just mine. This is the work of a bunch of team members. People like Kent, Brad, J-Bach, and many others worked really hard on this stuff to bring to you. So lots of cool stuff to talk about. If you haven't watched the Champ and Traits video with Chloe, go watch that. But this is some of the other stuff you can expect. So yeah, let's dive right in and talk about it. Since it's just me, it'll go pretty quick. So first thing we're going to talk about is we did bring one new item. And if you've ever watched me on stream or listened to me talk about the state of the game, it shouldn't surprise you what's happening here. So Guardian Angel is gone. Guardian Angel is not an item anymore. Guardian Angel presented way too many weird cases where you'd have an Urgot or a Yone in the weird death state but keep casting their spell, or Ari back in set 4 who'd like guaranteed get a cast off. Wasn't really the point of the item. Kind of an unhealthy item. We're finally getting rid of it. Its replacement is called Edge of Night. And Edge of Night is kind of similar in function. It's still a defensive item for your carry to help keep them alive, but with less confusing states. And so the way it works is when you drop below half health, you briefly enter stealth, becoming untargetable, shedding any negative effects, and then when you come out, you've got bonus attack speed. So you can see here in this example GIF, Talon applies the bleed, but as soon as Ezreal gets below half health, he drops it, loses the bleed, and then loses aggro, unstealth, and has bonus attack speed. So this should be a good item, still serves the same purpose, but with a lot less really bad interactions. Give it a try. Should be fun. Sweet. All right. Next thing to talk about, I think, is a long requested feature. We've talked about it before. It really should have come sooner, but we're glad to get this in. And that is the built-in matchup tracker. You do not need an add-on for this feature anymore. No more debates about whether or not it's tournament legal or anything. This is now built into the game. So anytime you're going into a matchup, you can look at the scoreboard and see these little sword icons. If these sword icons are near somebody, that means they're one of your possible opponents. And so it's all built into the game. And you can see here in this example that Shrinkrow, S. Judd, and M. Sloan are the possible targets. Those are maybe the ones you want to pay extra attention to scouting. And yeah, and so this also allows us to do some cool interactions with this system we'll talk about later. But yeah, you should be able to have this built into the game. It's all fair now on both mobile and PC. So give this a try on PBE. There is a chance this might get delayed like a patch or two, but we wanted you to know this is coming and this is a big focus for us. Wanted to make sure the playing field is fair going into the mid set. So cool. And that's it. That's all the system changes, right? Well, yes, but no, because as you know, set 6 introduced one really big system, one really complicated system, and that's augments. So we got to talk about augments. What are we doing with augments? What's going on with augments? Well, first up, we did a really big update to some of the existing augments. Kind of like with the hearts and souls, we've seen success by making sure that the risk versus reward of augments being lowered is actually good for the game. Things like Cutthroat, for example, when you had 0 assassins, was just too risky to take on 1/4. So kind of like with the hearts and souls, we went through and we did a pass, and we gave all of the very trait-specific ones ways to get into that trait much easier. So you can see here, Cutthroat gives you a Talon, Runic Shield gives you a Swain, Broken Stopwatch gives you a Zillion. Cool. In addition, for some of those, that did cause us to nerf the effects. So for example, Cutthroat here, the mana reduction went from 65 to 50, so it's nerfed, but again, it's a lot less risky because you get the Talon up front. Armor plating is a great example here. Instead of armor plating being 2 procs for 2 seconds each, you only get 1 proc for 3 seconds, but you get a Cho'Gath, and so like much easier to take on 1/4. The goal here, lowering the risk of a lot of these. We've also made some other adjustments where certain augments that really just aren't good choices at certain times don't show up. For example, Broken Stopwatch here, really good augment on 4/6, absolutely a bait on 1/4. Guess what? Broken Stopwatch will not show up on 1/4 anymore. So yeah, the goal of a lot of these changes is to make the augment system feel like less crazy risks and little more fair. A little better distribution of the augments. So yeah, I'm going to breeze through the full list of changes here. Going to go fast. If you see anything, let me know. But again, you should kind of get the general idea. Add a champ, slight nerf. Ardent Sensor, slight nerf, gets a Lulu. Cutthroat, we already talked about. Duet, HP nerf, but gets a Senna. Senna is one of the new socialites. That means you get Duet right away. That makes Duet a lot better. Unguard, slight nerf, gets a Warwick. Lifelong Learning, we might revert this one, but right now gets a buff and gets Syndra, although this augment has finally come into its own in the last patch, so this buff may not be necessary. We might take this out. One for All grants an Ash. That's a new syndicate. Payday, same thing, grants an Ash. Portable Forge, slight nerf to Obsidian Cleaver. Pirates grants a Quinn. This helps you get into that mercenary, get the pirates going. That's a fun one. Self-Repair, slight nerf, grants a Zillion. Shrug It Off grants a Sejuani. That's one of our new bruisers. So Small now grants a Corki, helps you get into that Yordle comp. Stand Behind Me grants a Blitzcrank. Unstable Evolution, we fixed a bug where 3-star champs were getting more stacks than intended. That's the nerf. It's kind of nerfed now. But grants a Rek'Sai, same kind of thing. Tier 1. Tier 2, same thing. Armor Plating, slight nerf, grants a Cho. Broken Stopwatch, grants a Zillion, doesn't appear on 1/4. Gold Reserves, slight nerf, grants a Quinn. Instant Injection grants a Warwick. Junkyard grants an Ezreal. Sharpshooter, slight nerf, grants a Lucian. Smoke Bomb grants a Talon. Spellblade, slight nerf, grants a Swain. Titanic Force never shows up on 1/4. Kind of a bait augment that early. Tier 3, Celestial Blessing 3 gets a buff. It just needs a buff. Prismatics need a little extra love. Cybernetic Implants gets a buff. Enforcer Soul has been removed because that's usually a bait almost all the time. High-End Shopping now grants 5 gold, gets a buff. And will never appear on 1/4 because it was always bad on 1/4. Makeshift Armor 3 gets a slight buff. Socialite Soul grants 8 gold like the other souls now. And Woodland Charm, which was actually bad on 4/6, now will never appear at 4/6. So again, removing bad choices, making things a little less risky. Hopefully this puts the augment system in a better place. And that's it, right? That's all the augment. No, of course not. We got to make more augments. We got to make better new augments. So of course we did. Oh, a couple last ones. I jumped the gun. Share the Spotlight is now a tier 3. Gives 150% of the bonus, but grants a Senna, which means right away you can start using this augment. This is really good. Chemical Overload, we buffed 1 and 2, removed 3, and they grant champions. Runic Shield, 1 and 2 grant champions, and we removed 3 because 3 was overkill. You didn't need it as a prismatic. It was a bad prismatic. All right, cool. New augments. Let's talk new augments. There are more than 80 new augments with a big focus on some of the more general augments. There are not many new trait ones. Obviously, we added new trait ones for the new traits, but we wanted to focus very much on creating new general case augments so that you didn't feel like you were seeing Thrill of the Hunt and Celestial Blessing every game. These are just some examples that I have the pretty art for. We'll go over the full list in a second, but you can see there is a tier 1 that just gives you 3 random 3 costs. Imagine opening that up on 1/4 and getting like a really strong start with some good 3-cost champions. Blue Battery, your entire team gets a blue buff mini. That's pretty sweet. Verdant Veil, your entire team is immune to CC for the first 12 seconds of combat. That one is so good. No more bounce houses with Brahms and Gallios. You just run Verdant Veil and stomp right through them. Really good on the Challenger comp. Jeweled Lotus, your entire team gets the Jeweled Gauntlet passive. Really fun with an Arcanist comp. Also makes IE a lot better because you can just slap that on and you don't even need the Jeweled Gauntlet. It feels good. Future Sight is a fun one. Future Sight, we talked about that new scoreboard that shows you the 3 swords. Well, Future Sight lowers it to 1 sword, so you know exactly who you're fighting and get a Zephyr to mess with them. Golden Gifts is an interesting one. If you know our loot system with the orbs, you can take a gold orb and a gray orb. What's in a gold orb? It could be 2 4-cost champions, 3 3-cost champions, a Tome of Traits, a Nikos, a Spatula. You don't know. What's in the mystery box? You willing to take it? Or Tiny Titans. So these are just some pretty examples. Like I said, there's more than 80. And I do have the full lists here. I'm not going to go over every single one, but I am going to highlight a few. And so you can pause the video, take a look at this and analyze it if you want. I'm sure other people have already published the list. But let's talk about a few. Recombobulator. This is the one I've been calling the Linda augment because for whatever reason, she always got it in playtests and no one else did. This one might end up being overpowered, but let's talk about it. It can only appear on 3/3 or 4/6, but what happens is all the champions on your board permanently transform into random champions that cost 1 more. So if you've got a 2-star 3 cost on the board, boom, now you have a 2-star 4 cost. You don't know which one, but it's random. And then you get 3 magnetic removers so you can move your items around. So if you want to take a risk and have your army scale up in power, but have no idea if they match your items, that's a crazy one. That is a crazy fun one. Let's see, what are some other fun ones to talk about here? Luden's Echo 1. All your units get built-in Luden's Echo. That's kind of neat. And there's a Luden's Echo 2 and a Luden's Echo 3. Cybernetic Uplink and Cybernetic Shell. If you liked the Cybernetic Enhancement one we already had, which gave you health and AD, here's 2 other versions. One gives you mana per second, and the other gives you armor. So different variations on Cyber, some existing ones you already know about. Second Wind's a fun one. 10 seconds into combat, your units heal for a bunch of missing health. This can be really good. It's like you think you're on the cusp of losing, and then boom, you're back to full health. Dominate the fight. Double Trouble is a really cool one. This is a kind of like a built different. Double Trouble says if you have exactly 2 copies of a champion on a board, so let's say you're running 2 Ezreals, they both gain 30 AD, ability power, armor, and magic resist. So that's cool. And then if you upgrade it to 3-star, you gain an extra 2-star copy. So that way you can keep your Double Trouble going. And so this can be really fun in reroll comps, or if you just want to run like 2 4-cost Dravens, go right ahead. This is a really fun trade. I think players are going to have a lot of fun with this one. Triforce, your 3-cost champions gain 233 health, 13 starting mana, and 23% attack speed. That's a nice fun one. And then you start to get into the trait ones. Debonair Heart, gain an extra Debonair. Stored Power, where each time your Hextech pulses, you gain ability power. This one might need a nerf. We'll see. Stuff like that. And then there's some interesting ones at the bottom here. Free healthcare. All units benefit from the Chemtech trait as though they were Chemtech units. This does not affect the number of Chemtech. So what this means is you can run a full army with 3 Chemtech, and the full army gains the power of 3 Chemtech. You can up it to 5 Chemtech. They all get 5 Chemtech. Makes for some really cool army building. And the same is true of Challenger and Hextech as well. So this is really cool. I think this is a fun new type. We'll have to see if it expands. But the idea that you're only running 4 Challenger, but all 8 units or 9 units in your team are getting Challenger, I think that's a fun augment. Should be pretty cool. And that's just tier 1. Let's jump into tier 2. So at tier 2 at the top, you can see some of our mystery box ones. 2 blue and a gray orb, a golden loot orb, gain 3 random 4-cost champions. Don't worry, that one can't appear on 1/4. Gain 3 random item components. We talked about Future Sight. Keepers is one where if you position everyone in that old Keeper style where everyone's grouped up, they gain a starting shield. So that's pretty sweet. Oh, Woodland Trinket. Kind of like Woodland Charm, except Woodland Trinket takes your highest attack speed champion, creates 2 mini copies, 400 health copies of them, excluding items. This is really fun if you get something like, you know, a really good backline with, say, Jin, and you've got now 3 2-star Jins firing tons of bullets. This one can be really fun. We already talked about Verdant Veil, Second Wind, Double Trouble. Let's see. Thieving Rascals. Your 3-cost champions, or excuse me, free Yordles from the portal have a 35% chance to arrive holding an item component. Sorry about that. So this is one for Yordles. The Yordles will come out of the portal holding items, but the trick is they might be holding the items and they might auto-combine, which means you might be stuck with some items. So it's kind of like Junkyard, but a little trickier to use. So that's really fun. Yeah, so lots of trinkets. There are lots of augments here. Should be fun here. Weak Spot 2, Battle Mage. Yeah, lots of cool stuff here for you to use. I forgot to talk about True 2s. This one, it can show up on 1/4. Gain 2 random 2-star 2-cost champions. If you've ever wanted a strong start where you just start with a 2-star Blitzcrank and a 2-star Ashe, that is a great augment to take. So really powerful. And if you didn't like that, sell it for 10 gold. So pretty good. And then finally the Prismatics. Again, you can see some of the mystery box stuff here. 2 golden loot orbs. Gain 3 random 5-cost champions. Again, that one won't show up on 1/4. Don't worry. But here's some cool ones. Radiant Relics. Open an armory and choose one of 4 unique Radiant items. Yes, the Radiant items are back. You can get Radiant items. You can get Radiant Thieves Gloves. We even went and made a Radiant Edge of Night. So if you want to play with Radiant Edge of Night, good luck. Radiant items are back. It's one of the cool things about Augments. We can put old mechanics back in and sparingly. Speaking of which, Future Sight 2. Know who you fight next and gain a Radiant Zephyr. So you can really mess with them. The Golden Egg is a crazy one brought to you by Meddler. This only appears on 4.6. You can only get it on 4.6. And it basically says if you're willing to play down a Prismatic for, I believe it's 7 turns once it goes to PBE, you will get an egg that hatches into some insane loot. Just insane value. But you have to be willing to play down a Prismatic for 7 turns. Can you do it? Can you get what's in the egg? If you can, it's like a super Prismatic. So that's a fun one. Tiny Titans we talked about, where your Tactician gains 35 health. This one can appear on 1/4, so you could start with 135 health. This also stacks with Metabolic Accelerator, so you could just have tons of health if you want. Yeah, Blue Battery 2. Literally your entire team gets blue buff. That's pretty sweet. So, Double Trouble 3. Yeah, and then of course the Debonair Crown, Hextech Crown. Striker Crown is really good. That is a ton of AD. Meditation 3, your units without items gain 7 mana per second. So yeah, lots of fun stuff here. Pause and take a look at the list if you want, but more than 80 new augments to play with, and hopefully, again, this means every game continues to feel even more different. So, yeah. And that's it. A new item, a new UI improvement, and a bunch of augments that hopefully you enjoy, as well as improving some of the old augments. Hopefully get us in a better spot. Now, I say this with a big asterisk. We know a bunch of these augments are probably not balanced. That's what PBE is for. We're going to balance them as we go. So as you enjoy PBE, let us know which ones are broken, which ones are wildly overpowered, and which ones suck. And we'll get those fixed before we go live. As always, we appreciate all the PBE testers who are willing to play. So, yeah. All right, that's it. Short video, but that's kind of the mechanics and system changes coming. There's also the champion and trait ones if you didn't watch it, but that's it. So right now it's probably about 1 o'clock for you guys. PBE should be up soon. Have fun. Let us know what you think of Neon Knights. And yeah, on behalf of the entire team that worked their butt off on this, we really hope this elevates the game even further. Hope you guys have fun. And yeah, that's going to do it for me. Until next time, take it easy.